I had no knowledge of anyone else being investigated except myself, so I had no one to talk to. And I had no way to really understand what was going on. You have to remember I was 18, also a farmer's kid, so that made me about 12 in terms of understanding how the world worked. My father was very concerned that we would elevate ourselves through education. He had completed high school in Norway and wanted very much for me to go to college. So anyone who joined the military was eligible to go to university of their choice. I don't know that we took particular precaution to hide our sexuality. We were young. We were all, 18, 19 years old. Certainly we did not advertise it, but within, our network, it wasn't particularly secret. This was in 1956. This was during, the tail end of the McCarthy era, when they were hunting communists and homosexuals. And it was a pretty unfriendly political and legal landscape at that time. Lesbian and gay people were considered then mentally ill and also criminals. The 50s were an extremely difficult decade, and sexuality, very specifically gay and lesbian sexuality, was investigated by legal groups in the military. The legal group was the Criminal Investigation Department. They would follow me to the movies, they would follow me to Mount Fuji, where we went to hike and just investigate the volcano. And the interrogations would last a minimum of 30 minutes, often over an hour. The interrogations would be inquiries around my sexuality, who I was seeing. They had photographs on a couple of occasions. There was also never another woman present. It was difficult, lonely. I also understood that this was the law at the time, that we were considered criminals. Solitary confinement occurred throughout the investigation. It began, and primarily it was to pressure me to give them answers about who other people were that I knew, who were civilians, enlisted, or officers. And I was a very gregarious, happy, open kid, so I knew a lot of people. I even played golf. And they simply wanted the names. And so as long as I was not cooperating, I would spend anywhere from 24 to 48 hours in what they call detainment. And then I think the longest time was about 10 days. The ultimate consequence of the investigations about my sexuality was that I was court-martialed, and I had to relinquish my stripes. And of course, you lose all of your rights. At the last interrogation, what they said to me is that they would give me a full ride to the university of my choice if I simply agreed to provide the names of homosexual people that I knew. I grew up with a father who was had a lot of integrity. And I think I channeled that during that period of time. because it was just so wrong, just so wrong.